program are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the staff or management of KLAV.
Let's face it, life can be tough. The stress and strain of juggling work and family, it can take a toll. Physically, emotionally, even mentally. That's why you need the 3 T's of health. What are the 3 T's of health? Stay tuned to find out. Because when you're feeling good, it's a beautiful day. The 3 T's of Health is brought to you by Renaissance Health Center, 2820 West Charleston, and Pure Health Foods at 7575 West Washington Avenue. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free 1-866-820-KLAV. Now let's bring on the host, another T, Dr. Thor Mongie.
It's a beautiful day. Welcome to the 3 T's of Health. This is Dr. Thor Mongie. It is a beautiful day. I have in the studio with me John Alexander. He's a Reiki master in our practice. I'd just like John just to say hi quickly.
Hello there, this is John.
Hi, this is our first radio station show, and we are really excited. And I'm really passionate about what I do. I want to really outline in this show what the show is all about, and where I come from. I'm originally from South Africa. I grew up in Cape Town, sunny Cape Town, on the coast, southern tip of Africa, and actually the seeds of alternative medicine were planted pretty early on. I grew up, and my mom had a little book on a bedside table from Louise Hay. Some of the listeners may have heard of her. She relates thoughts to illnesses and conditions. And so there was this little blue book on the side of a bed. And I used to pick it up and read it and look at different health conditions and see how they're related to health problems. And so that kind of planted the seeds. And when I was about 13 years old, I was in a gym injury. I was actually about 3 different accidents in 1 year. When I was 13, I was bucked by a horse, kicked in the head in rugby. Rugby is a football without pads, so quite a rough sport. And someone fell on my back in an injury in a gym class. So my mom said, I think we need to take you to the chiropractor and get you straightened out. And so the first time I went, he really helped me. And then I'd go back every so often for adjustments, maintenance adjustments. And every time I went, I thought, this is pretty cool how someone can help you without drugs and surgery. And during my schooling, high school, I wasn't a good student and never even really thought I was going to go to college. I actually had a reading problem, so that wasn't kind of an option growing up. But then fast forward to when I was about 22, and I was working for a life insurance company and absolutely hating it. And it was like one day, an epiphany, and I had 2 brothers studying in the States at that time, and it was like one day, I need to do something I'm really passionate about. And so I always kind of came back to chiropractic and, health. And so on that day, I kind of thought I need to come to the States to study. So I saved up. I was working for an insurance company during the day, working at a pub at night, and saved up money for about a year, and then came over. I'm the classic American dream story. Came over here with 2 suitcases and kind of dreams, in my hands. And I came to the States. I had to start out right from the bottom, schooling. I took like Math 99, English 101, went to community college in Utah. Then I went to BYU, and then I went to Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa. And that's actually where it all started. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So that's kind of my story. And so I came to the States to study chiropractic. And in this show, what we want to do is we really want to dumb it down for the listeners. Health is not rocket science. And so we want to really bring it down to, if you picture Homer Simpson, he can understand most things. So our customer or our listening audience, we want to educate you at the level of Homer Simpson. That way we'll get to the PhDs. They'll be able to understand it anyway. So we want to really dumb it down. And we want you to become an informed health care consumer. And it's really, we want to empower people so that they can make the right health decisions. And we want to stick to the basics. As I said, health isn't rocket science. The 3 T's, we'll be covering that a little later. The 3 T's are The first T, this is how the body gets out of balance. And the first chiropractor was, he's actually the second, the son of the first, was B.J. Palmer. And he coined this phrase way back in about 1800s, the 3 T's. And this is how the body gets out of balance, is through trauma, or we call it structural stress or physical stress, then thoughts or emotional stress, and then the other one is toxins or chemical stress. And really, if you really boil it down to it, that's really how we get out of balance. And, we really make health really confusing. We have all these different diets out there, but if you really stick to the basics, you've got to get structurally in balance, chemically in balance, and emotionally in balance, But there is a little more to it than that. It's how you do it. And you can do it either with chemicals, covering, putting just Band-Aid medicine, we call it, or you can actually get to the root of the problem. That's really what we're going to do on the show. We're going to have lots of wonderful guests sharing different treatments. We're going to have naturopaths, we've got health food specialists. John here is a Reiki practitioner. He's going to share how you can decrease stress and work on the thoughts, the emotional component. And so we're going to look at lots of different areas with regards to health and 3 T's. But what I want to do now is really tell you a little bit of history about chiropractic and healthcare, how it started. It's really interesting. And so chiropractic, homeopathy, osteopathy, and mainstream medicine all came about at about the same time, about 1900s. And this is when professions were becoming formalized. And and how chiropractic started was all at the same time. It's kind of like a religious revival, the Renaissance. It all kind of started the same time in different countries, the turn of the century, the 19th century. That's when it all started. And Dr. D.D. Palmer, he was the first chiropractor. He was actually a magnetic healer. And he was looking for ways to help the body and heal the body. And the janitor in his building where he had an office came to him and said, about 7 years before, he had bent down and heard a loud pop in his neck, and he actually went almost all the way deaf. And Dr. Palmer said, this is kind of strange, and he looked at his neck, and he found that some of the vertebrae were misaligned on the top of the neck. And they actually adjusted his neck. The first time nothing happened, no changes, but I think it was the third time that his hearing came back. So chiropractic, when people think about chiropractic, you think of what? Neck pain, back pain, but actually it kind of started with hearing. And so they advertised this, we've got a cure for hearing, right? But so all these people are lining up, these deaf people, and they are adjusting their neck, but guess what? They didn't find any help with the neck, but they started to find it helped with other problems. And so that's kind of how chiropractic started. And then he knew he was onto something. This is before we really knew much about the nervous system. And he started actually a school, Palmer College of Chiropractic. And that's where I went to school. And I think it's still one of the best schools out there. And so that was in about 1895 the school started. And we call it the Fountainhead. And they actually have a old mansion where the school started. They were a real eccentric family. His son traveled all over the world, collected a lot of Asian artifacts, and this was in the middle of Iowa on the Mississippi, and they have this 3-pound Buddha there. And if you think of the 1800s, how they got it there, that must have been a real trip. But they actually also had a radio station. It was called The World of, and they had a show called The World of Chiropractic, and they actually broadcast about chiropractic. And actually Ronald Reagan was actually one of the announcers on the radio. So a real fascinating industry. So chiropractic started, and at the same time homeopathy, naturopathy was all starting. And later on allopathic medicine, mainstream medicine was formalized. So actually chiropractic and all these were actually birthed at the same time. We're going to talk about a little bit about the goals of the show. We want you to be informed. John, I'd like to bring you on a little bit and kind of share some of your John is a Reiki master, and we talked about the third T, which is thoughts or emotional stress. Just tell us a little bit where you're from, kind of how you joined us.
Well, my story is not as colorful as Thor's is, but have been to Africa. Grew up around the States, mostly in California, Florida. Now I'm out in Las Vegas, and I love it here. I studied all kinds of Eastern energetic healing, and it brought me to Reiki when I came to Nevada. And it really came together, and seems like what came together for me was the emotional part of it. And seems like everyone I've met has some history of either of an emotional stress that they're going through, relationship, work, school, So there was definitely a need. And when we're with Reiki, what we do is we help to relax the body. And when you can relax and quiet the mind, the body has a chance to go take a deep breath and go, ah. And as soon as that happens, and your mind is quiet, all kinds of wonderful things can happen. And basically, the body is really interesting, can heal. It really helps to heal itself. But it needs some help, and it needs that break from everything that's going on. The bills being paid, the dogs being fed, the dishes being washed, what's going on at work. All these things are going on in your mind all the time. And as soon as you get a chance to, through meditation, you can take a break from all that. Your body has a chance to regroup and really take a deep breath. And that's what we're all about, is giving you a chance to take that deep breath. And when the synergies of, combining that with the rest of the practices at Renaissance, they all integrate in together. And so when you give the body a chance to relax, and then Dr. Mongie has a chance to, get in and do his work, and the other practitioners, it's really a full, what is Thor calls it, the entire pie.
Yeah, healing the whole body. Yeah.
There you go. You just can't heal one piece of it. You need to address all of the needs of the body. And when we can do that, the results are spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, John. That's a little bit. Actually, our next show next week, we're going to concentrating on stress and how you can handle the stress. So emotionally, how we can help the body with emotional techniques, structural, and through our nutrition. And so, stress is a big factor, and I think it's becoming bigger and bigger nowadays. The chiropractors, 50, 60 years ago, in chiropractic, we talk about people holding the alignment. And I think people used to hold the alignment longer than they do now because of all the stresses, right? And so because of the financial, the economy, etc. John, he talked about Renaissance Health Center. And so I practice at Renaissance Health Center with Dr. Fau, who is an osteopath but specializes in homeopathy and acupuncture. And I wanted to put in a word for him. He's been one of my mentors. I've been in the practice for 9 years, and he's been just an incredible resource just down the hallway. And we refer patients to each other. And as John said, this is really about looking at the person as a whole. Actually, our motto or our tagline at Renaissance Health Center is healing the whole person. And so you really have to look at all those, those three components. And so he's been really instrumental in my practice. And just like to say on air, thanks for everything he's done and helped me become, the doctor that I am. And also Dr. Davidson, she's a naturopath, and she really specializes in women's health, and she's also a great resource. And so we want this show to be a resource for you, so you can look into different healing ways of healing the body naturally. And we are going to take a break now, and we'll take a break.
You're listening to the 3 T's of Health on AM 1230 KLAV. Dr. Thor Mongie returns right after this.
My name is Dr. Thor Mongie, and I'm inviting you to join us every Friday at 2 p.m. for our new show called The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie. This is a show that will educate, inspire, and reveal the truths about where health comes from, how you lose it, and how you can regain it. The 3 T's are trauma or structural stress, toxins or chemical stress, and thoughts or emotional stress. You'll find out how they get out of balance and what you need to rebalance them so you can live a pain-free life. So join me every Friday at 2 p.m. for our show, The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie.
Renaissance Health Center is one of the only alternative medical clinics of its kind in Las Vegas, where the doctors and clinicians offer over 50 years of combined experience. The center offers both mainstream medicine and natural approaches that may include upper cervical chiropractic, homeopathy, acupuncture, naturopathy, nutrition, Reiki, and massage therapy. Dr. Thor Mongie of Renaissance Health Center uses a comprehensive consultation to determine if health problems are being caused by a structural, chemical, or emotional problem, and then prescribes the best treatment to reduce pain and improve health. Renaissance Health Center, centrally located at 2820 West Charleston Boulevard, about a mile west of the UMC. Call to set up a complimentary consultation with Dr. Thor Mongie at 702-258-7860 or visit us online at iwholehealth.com. That's the letter I, the word whole with a W, health.com. Take your first step to naturally improving your health and becoming pain-free by calling Dr. Thor Mongie at 702-258-7860 or online at the letter I, wholehealth.com.
Pure Health Foods was voted the #1 health food store in Las Vegas by the readers of Wellness Magazine. Stop by today to find out why. Pure Health Foods has competitive prices, a great selection, and is a knowledgeable and friendly family-owned business. Come in and prepare for the upcoming flu season by building up your immune system now. Pure Health Foods, located at 7575 West Washington Avenue, number 129. You can call them at 702-366-9297 or visit them on the web at purehealthfoodslv.com. Pure Health Foods, not your ordinary health food store.
The 3 T's of Health continue. Call Dr. Mongie with your questions at 731-1230. Now, here again, your host, Dr. Thor Mongie.
Hi, you're back with Dr. Thor Mongie and John Alexander from Renaissance Health Center and the 3 T's of Health. I want to touch on a little bit. In our show, we're going to give a little bit of a talk about a theme. And today is actually about our bodies house our spirits. And it doesn't matter what religious, persuasion you're from, but, it's my belief that we are put on this earth, and we receive a spirit, and our body is how we experience life through it. And I believe in a creator, but we have this body, and we have to be the custodials of it and take good care of it. And so, if we don't take care of our bodies, we are a big burden on ourselves, family, and the whole society. And in later shows, we're actually going to talk a little bit about the crisis of healthcare, right? And so because people are throwing drugs and chemicals at us, and that is costing a lot of money. If you just take diabetes, for example, that is basically caused by lifestyle problems, right? Lifestyle changes. There are problems, definite problems with pancreas. But so really the thought of today, if you can take a little take-home message so far is our health is our responsibility, and our bodies house our spirits, and it's through our body that we really experience this life. And so with my patients, my goal is to improve the quality of life, and through healing the body as naturally as possible. I did want to explain what exactly I do, and I'm a chiropractor, so as I before mentioned, I went to chiropractic college in Davenport, Iowa. And a little history of chiropractic, it's really interesting. There are about 60,000 chiropractors in practice, and about 2% of them are upper cervical chiropractors. So if you do the math, that's a small number. And what an upper cervical chiropractor is, it's not that we just adjust the neck, the upper cervical region, but we actually use the cervical region, the neck, to actually balance the whole spine. And the specific technique within upper cervical that I do is called NUCA. It's an acronym. It stands for the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association. That's why we just call it NUCA. But I specialize. When I went to chiropractic school, I did not know about chiropractic, but the chiropractic that I went to, he did use a low force technique, and so that was kind of my world, and that was what I was used to. And so when I went to chiropractic school, I found out that there are all these different techniques, and as a patient, you may have gone to a chiropractor. He did one technique, and I think some are more effective, some are more forceful, some are less forceful, but on the whole, I think all the techniques work. I just chose this one, and the main premise of NUCA and upper cervical chiropractic is that we reposition the head on top of the spine. Through the first T, trauma, structural stress in our lives, through knocks, bumps, falls. So I was kicked in the head in rugby, right, concussion, and I was bucked off by that horse. That knocked me out structurally. So I was way out of balance. And so what I do with my patients is we take specific x-rays. We actually take three-dimensional, one from the side, from the top, and from the front to see how the spine and the head is misaligned with relation to gravity. And we come up with mathematical equation, and I bring out my protractors, and patients go running and they get pretty scared at this stage. But we analyze them, and we come up with a direction to realign the spine. We actually use the top bone, which is called the atlas, to move the whole spine into alignment. In my practice, I actually do adjusting in other areas if it needs to be done. I do another technique. It's called cranial sacral therapy. A lot of massage therapists do it. I also use the activator, which it almost looks like a little gun clicker. It feels like a stapler when you get adjusted. But those are my kind of core techniques. But NUCA, which is an upper cervical technique, when I went to chiropractic school, I heard them talk about all these different techniques, and this one really just sat with me, and I knew I was going to practice that. It just made sense to bring the head on balance. And I want to ask John a little bit. He's been under NUCA care for a couple of months since joining our practice, and a little note about our head. Our head weighs about 10 to 14 pounds, so you listening, if your head's a little off center, right, what's that 10 pounds doing? And so if you just picture you hold a bowling ball, or what do you guys call it in the States? Bowling ball. Bowling ball, yeah. Bowling ball. If you hold it up close against your chest and pretty central, it would be easy to hold up the bowling ball, right? But if you hold it a little anterior away from your chest, and then you could feel that the muscles pull differently. And if you hold it off to the side, maybe just off to the right, you can feel how your body shifts and the hips rotate underneath it. And so we got to really make sure that our head's centered. You see, if you just adjust, say, maybe the low back and the head's off center, this big bowling ball is throwing you off to the side. I don't think your adjustments will hold as long as if you position that head correctly. So I'm going to ask John give a little experience of what his experience of NUCA and upper cervical chiropractic from actually a patient standpoint. John, if you kind of share.
Sure. First, I'd like to clarify the actuator. It's a stapler without staples. Okay. It's a little thump, but it's as far as the adjustments, they were. It was interesting that when I walked out, I noticed a difference. Instead of 3 or 4 visits later, being told, after he adjusted me, my heels were more in line. I was balancing better. The weight between the feet was even, and so it was an immediate an effect, and which I was very, very surprised at. I thought of where you have a whole series of, come back next week and we'll do it again. But no, I definitely felt it. But then, after a couple days, it kind of went back a little bit. But then the next adjustment, it was even greater, the difference. So we call it the, what do you call the walk after we?
The NUCA walk.
The NUCA walk. After he adjusted you walk down the hallway, and you walk back, and you can feel the difference right then. And he has different techniques to show you, so you can actually see the difference. Where scales and things.
And John, what are the adjustments? So I'll just explain a couple of things, what I'm looking for to find out. Not everyone's a candidate for NUCA, and chiropractic. But first, what I do is actually to see if someone is actually out of balance, out of alignment. At the top of the show, we talked about Homer Simpson and dumbing it down. I don't talk about. There's a word we use in chiropractic, subluxation, which is a little less than a dislocation when the spine's a little bit misaligned. I just talk about misalignment, being out of alignment. And so I check to see if my patients are out of alignment. And what we look at is posture. We get them to stand in front of a mirror. You can go home and look at yourself in the mirror now. So we're going to have all these people looking in the mirror. But look at the head, see if the head's tilted to one side. Look at the neck if it's going off to one side. Look at the height of the shoulders. Maybe one shoulder's raised. You may be able to look at your waist and the belt to see if one's raised. And so that's, the body is gets out of balance. And we actually call it, body imbalance precedes pain and suffering. And so you have to be structurally out of balance, and then that's when you have the symptoms. And so when people are walking to my office with, carpal tunnel or neck pain, they've actually probably been out of balance for a while before that. But, we're humans and we only really do something when it hurts, Wouldn't it be great if we knew when we were out of balance? And actually I try and train preventative. And
That'd be great.
I actually teach my patients to kind of look for signs when they are out of alignment. Some patients feel that one leg pulls up shorter. I need to touch on that. I haven't clarified about when the spine is out of alignment. You see, really what happens is the brain sending signals from the brain down through the spinal cord and through the neck and out through all the nerves to all your muscles, tissues, and organs. And if you think of a good example is Christopher Reeve. This is a drastic example, but he broke his neck right at the level of the first or second vertebra, and he broke his neck, and that severed the spinal cord. And his body wasn't getting any messages. Okay, that's drastic. But when we are misaligned, when the top vertebrae are misaligned, that's affecting the messages just slightly. But that could be creating muscle imbalance, could be causing lots of different problems. And so one of the things I look for, as well as the posture, I get my patients to lie on their back, and I look at leg length. I look to see if their heels are even. When you're out of balance, one leg gets pulled up shorter because of muscle imbalance all the way down the spine, but it really starts in the neck. And so one of the other factors that I look at is I actually get my patients to stand on two scales, 1 foot on each scale, and I look to see if they're carrying more weight on one side. Patients really love to check this out, and they find it pretty comical.
As long as we don't add the two scales together.
Right. And that's one factor, and I actually use that in my adjustment on that particular day to fine-tune adjustment, because one day you may be way out, another day not as much. And so that's kind of what I look for with my NUCA patients. But the adjustment, what I was going to ask John is, what is when we adjust you are lying on the side on a table, and the table's maybe 20 inches off the ground, and the reason it's low is so that I can actually use gravity in the adjustment, so that I don't have to use a lot of force and just a light amount of pressure. But what does it feel like, the adjustment?
It's like if you were testing the freshness of a loaf of bread. I'm going to say, if you put your thumb on it and you pressed in, that's what it felt like. It wasn't the usual two hands in the center of your back and they go oof, and you hear cracks going up your back. No, nothing like that whatsoever. And I almost was like, was that it? I was waiting I thought he was just sizing it up, like press here, but he was already done.
Yeah. So. And it's interesting. If you think of how the adjustment, how I use a lot of analogies on this show. We'll use a lot of analogies about the body and health. If you picture a train on the train tracks, if you push it from diagonally, it'll take a lot of force and it'll move gradually. But if you get directly behind the train and push it directly down the tracks, it doesn't take much force. And so that's kind of how the adjustment works. From the x-rays, we get a specific direction to move the spine at, and so it doesn't take a lot of force. It's just kind of ready to move. We set the patient up specifically according to their misaligned spine, so things move really easily. And from a doctor's standpoint, when I'm doing the adjustment, it's done by hand at the we're going to take a break in a minute, but we'll finish off this thought. The adjustment, when I do the adjustment, it feels like a grape, and when you squash that grape, and so it kind of just squishes. And so when I'm adjusting the patient, I feel just kind of the muscles relax. And but we're going to go to a commercial and take a break.
This is the 3 T's of Health, brought to you by Renaissance Health Center. Don't go away. Dr. Mongie returns after these brief messages.
Pure Health Foods was voted the #1 health food store in Las Vegas by the readers of Wellness Magazine. Stop by today to find out why. Pure Health Foods has competitive prices, a great selection, and is a knowledgeable and friendly family-owned business. Come in and prepare for the upcoming flu season by building up your immune system now. Pure Health Foods, located at 7575 West Washington Avenue, number 129. You can call them at 702-366-9297 or visit them on the web at purehealthfoodslv.com. Pure Health Foods, not your ordinary health food store.
Renaissance Health Center is one of the only alternative medical clinics of its kind in Las Vegas, where the doctors and clinicians offer over 50 years of combined experience. The center offers both mainstream medicine and natural approaches that may include upper cervical chiropractic, homeopathy, acupuncture, naturopathy, nutrition, Reiki, and massage therapy. Dr. Thor Mongie of Renaissance Health Center uses a comprehensive consultation to determine if health problems are being caused by a structural, chemical, or emotional problem, and then prescribes the best treatment to reduce pain and improve health. Renaissance Health Center, centrally located at 2820 West Charleston Boulevard, about a mile west of the UMC. Call to set up a complimentary consultation with Dr. Thor Mongie at 702-258-7860 or visit us online at iwholehealth.com. That's the letter I, the word whole with a W, health.com. Take your first step to naturally improving your health and becoming pain-free by calling Dr. Thor Mongie at 702-258-7860 or online at the letter I, wholehealth.com.
My name is Dr. Thor Mongie, and I'm inviting you to join us every Friday at 2 p.m. for our new show called The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie. This is a show that will educate, inspire, and reveal the truths about where health comes from, how you lose it, and how you can regain it. The 3 T's are trauma or structural stress, toxins or chemical stress, and thoughts or emotional stress. You'll find out how they get out of balance and what you need to rebalance them so you can live a pain-free life. So join me every Friday at 2 p.m. for our show, The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie.
Welcome back to the 3 T's of Health. Call Dr. Mongie at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Now, here again, Dr. Thor Mongie.
Hi, welcome back. It is a beautiful day. You're here with Dr. Thor Mongie and John Alexander. We have on the line Sean he is actually one of our partners and sponsors from Pure Health Foods. Sean, you there? Sean, are you there?
He wants to be here.
Yeah. We must have a technical difficulty.
So
Well, we'll wait for that call and just go ahead.
I wanted to mention one of the things about the Reiki that's unique to Las Vegas is we have 2 practitioners instead of just one. So you have a choice of having just one practitioner or 2, and my partner is named Brandy Jones, and we like to especially the first time is to have both of us give you a session so that you can feel the male and female energies, and it's a real good synergistic balance. And I think we're ready to go here. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that technical difficulty. Sean, can you hear us? Yeah, we can hear you. Sean, you still there? Okay, I think it's a bad connection, so we'll have to try to get hold of him later, maybe. Thanks, John, for covering for us there. What we wanted to talk, I'll explain a little bit about Pure Food Health. It's amazing. What the show is also really about is we're all on a journey, and so I want to the listeners to join us on our journey, and it's amazing. I'll share kind of a personal story at this stage. Is about 7 to 8 years into practice, I kind of got burnt out, And I don't know if anyone can relate in any industry, right? You kind of get burned out, you get hit a wall, and you think, am I supposed to be maybe doing this, right? Even though, I kind of had my pilgrimage from South Africa to do chiropractic, but I kind of felt like I hit a wall and kind of lost my passion for it. But then I was doing a lot of kind of praying, pondering, and wanted to know really if this was kind of my path to do chiropractic. And once I kind of regained my passion, it was one day I thought, okay, what now? Okay, I do love what I do, but where do we go from this? And it was really one of those days I was in the shower, walking out of the shower, and I had this distinct idea or thought that we need to take chiropractic and alternative medicine mainstream. And so that's really at the core of this show. And, it's not to knock mainstream medicine, or it's really to bring the two together and really let you, the public, know what options there are to improve your health. There's a time and a place for drugs and surgery, but there's also a time and place for natural ways to heal. And actually, alternative medicine, that was actually what medicine started out as. But the pharmaceuticals have come into it, and it's really a lot about money at the moment. And so really that's the main theme of the show. And once I got on this path about bringing mainstream medicine, it's funny, I started to meet all these amazing practitioners, and one of them was Sean from Health Food Store. I walked into their store, and we just developed a great relationship. And so they're going to be one of our experts on nutrition, and that'll be a great resource to go to get that third T, the thoughts or chemical stress, under control. And when I got on this path about mainstream medicine or alternative medicine, bring it mainstream, that's when I met John and Brandy, the other Reiki practitioner. It was a funny story how we met. John, you can kind of share that a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, I actually met Brandy on the path out at Red Rock, and we started. That's where he. It's so well. Anyway, I found out earlier that Thor had met Brandy, my partner, a year prior, and we bumped into each other again, and we were actually at the. Well, anyway, that's a long story. I don't know if we want to go into that, but the combination of what I was going into before, the Brandy and my energies when you're getting team Reiki, and that's what's unique with that Renaissance is you're not just receiving it from one practitioner but two. That not only are you getting it twice as much, but you're getting the male and female energies together, and that seems to be what we're getting. The central theme keeps on coming back is balance. And
it's kind of the yin and the yang, right?
Yeah. You can't. I mean, you can receive one without the other, but it's just that much better.
Yeah.
And
I want to kind of share my experience with Reiki. And so after I met John, and I've always been interested in all the different therapies, but I'm an avid golfer, and we're actually going to have little segments on one of my other passions is I'm a big golfer.
Big golfer.
Yeah. And for any of those good golfers, maybe we'll go out on the fairways one of these days, but we're going to be talking about golf injuries and golf conditioning in one of the shows. I have great relationships with a couple of pros in town, and if you're out of balance, if the spine's out of balance, how well are you going to be playing good golf, right, structurally, but also emotionally? I've had a lot of treatments from Brandy and John, some Reiki treatments, and that's really quieted my mind. I used to be about a 6 or 7 handicap, and now I'm right at about 3. And so I would get a Reiki treatment just before I went out, and that's the only other change that I've made, other than playing golf, maybe a little bit more. But really, it's helped me quieten my mind and be more focused. I think we are back with Sean.
Yes, hi.
Sean, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Okay, yes. Sean, I'd like to, if you can tell us a little bit about your story, really how you got into health and nutrition, and kind of your story and why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, yeah. No, I wasn't suffering from anything, very harmful. But when I was in my early 20s, I had a lot of acid reflux, spent a lot of time being depressed, and very stressed out. And actually, my wife, she introduced me to kind of changing my diet, finding different herbs and supplements that could kind of help me with my acid reflux and my stress. And with my education, I started doing education on all the herbs and vitamins and nutrients and finding out how they could help me kind of reverse some of my problems. And then I started learning about, ways I could help other people fix their problems.
Okay. And what's your philosophy? Because mine is food should be the first source, but, what's your, what have you found? Because the food source is so depleted, is that why you really looked into supplements and nutrients?
Yeah, and that was actually, how I started out too. I started changing my diet first, realizing that most of the nutrients that I needed to reverse some of the issues I was having was in my food. So,
Okay.
I actually, my wife is already a vegan.
So am I. So I sympathize there.
So, I started actually changing my diet, and I went vegetarian for a little while, and I started feeling better. My acid reflux went away. My energy level started increasing. I stopped being depressed, and then I decided to go ahead and try to get rid of the dairy eggs, and I felt like that was the right decision for me.
Okay.
And as I did that, I just noticed, again, more energy, just felt more vibrant, more happy.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's amazing what, our body's like an engine, right? This high-performance car. If you put junk in, what are you going to get out? Junk, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so we have to make, and so can you tell us a little bit about your store and where it's located, and, maybe do you have, a little niche market, or, who's your ideal person that walks into your store?
Okay. We're located over on Buffalo and Washington by Trader Joe's. And so we're, very convenient right off the freeway. So, we've been in business for over 3 years, and we've been over in this location now for almost 2. What we really try to do is not just sell people some vitamins and, send them on their way. We really try to educate them. I try to work with people who, want to make a real change in their life, Sometimes, a therapeutic change in diet is necessary for them to get the healing that they need. And so I walk them through the changes that they need to make, and they keep coming back to me while they're on their path to healing and, get more information. I'm always here for them to do that.
Okay, great.
Then if I need to, I get them on, the right supplements also to kind of help, expedite their healing process. And maybe make it a little gentler on them too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to have a segment on the show about the supplements for vegetarians, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I just learned about protein, and I thought I'd been eating protein, but I was eating the wrong types of protein, and I was gaining weight. Couldn't figure it out. I said, "Wait a minute, I'm a vegetarian. I should be, slim and trim," but all those carbs were going right to my waist. And so there's a huge amount of information. Lack of information as far as my game.
Yeah, it's very true. I work with a lot of people too who are either vegetarian or vegan, and they end up gaining weight. I went through the same issues myself, because a lot of times when people get on to that diet, they're eliminating meat, but they tend to start picking up their carbohydrate foods, and a lot more pastas and rice and breads, and unfortunately, those tend to just turn, right to fat in the body.
Yeah, I was really enjoying that part of the diet.
Yeah, that those are the foods that taste good, But so even for me, I've had to challenge with that and just work to find the most, nutritious foods, to force myself to, not eat pasta every night, to just try to do more vegetables. And I do a lot of juicing now, and that really helps me a lot.
Yeah, and I think of nutrition, so, I'm thinking of why, one of the reasons when we started the show, why would someone want to listen to the show and,
because we are giving people, kind of options. And when I think of nutrition, on the one side, on your left hand, there's this big spectrum. You have people that eat a lot of processed food, right? And lots of fast food. And then on the right, you have vegetarian and vegan, right? And so we want to help people get more towards that right, but here's a question. Is it hard to eat vegetarian or vegan?
For me, I found it wasn't that difficult. For some people it is, especially, depending on, if your family doesn't want to join you on the journey. It can be kind of tough to make that final switch. I was actually, working a job where I was around those kind of foods that I didn't want to eat, and I actually quit my job because I knew that I needed to do that in order to make a permanent change in my life.
That's a great example. I had a patient that was a smoker, and they quit smoking. And, to make big changes, you do have to make, some sacrifices. And this person actually changed their route that they drove home from work, They had it kind of really changed, Sometimes you'll have to change friends. But we are going to take a break in a minute. And I just want to point out that, so this show is called The 3 T's of Health. And so I'm really the structural specialist on the show, structurally out of balance. Sean's going to be one of our, the other T, the toxins or chemical stress, nutrition. And then John's a lot on the emotional, the thoughts component. So that's kind of how we're structuring. And then each show we're going to focus on different subjects. We are going to talk a little about golf injuries, how to heal maybe after surgery, nutritionally, anti-inflammatories, talk about how you can improve posture. We've got a little tip how you can improve your posture while driving home. You can tune in for that next week. But we'd like to take a break. And Sean, thanks for joining us. He's going to be on the show, a regular fixture. And so for callers, you can call into Sean, when he's on the show. And if you can let us know again, Sean, where you're located, and maybe a telephone number for any listeners.
Okay. Well, thanks again for having me on your show too. It's been great. Our address is 7575 West Washington Avenue. It's the southeast corner of Buffalo in Washington by Trader Joe's. And we're open from 9 to 7 every day except for Sunday. And you can reach me at 702-366-9297, and I'm always available.
Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Okay,
we're going to take a break now.
Okay. Bye.
You're listening to the 3 T's of Health, brought to you by Renaissance Health Center. Dr. Thor Mongie returns in a moment.
My name is Dr. Thor Mongie, and I'm inviting you to join us every Friday at 2 p.m. for our new show called The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie. This is a show that will educate, inspire, and reveal the truths about where health comes from, how you lose it, and how you can regain it. The 3 T's are trauma or structural stress, toxins or chemical stress, and thoughts or emotional stress. You'll find out how they get out of balance and what you need to rebalance them so you can live a pain-free life. So join me every Friday at 2 p.m. for our show, The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie.
Renaissance Health Center is one of the only alternative medical clinics of its kind in Las Vegas, where the doctors and clinicians offer over 50 years of combined experience. The center offers both mainstream medicine and natural approaches that may include upper cervical chiropractic, homeopathy, acupuncture, naturopathy, nutrition, Reiki, and massage therapy. Dr. Thor Mongie of Renaissance Health Center uses a comprehensive consultation to determine if health problems are being caused by a structural, chemical, or emotional problem, and then prescribes the best treatment to reduce pain and improve health. Renaissance Health Center, centrally located at 2820 West Charleston Boulevard, about a mile west of the UMC. Call to set up a complimentary consultation with Dr. Thor Mongie at 702-258-7860 or visit us online at iWholeHealth.com. That's the letter I, the word whole with a W, health.com. Take your first step to naturally improving your health and becoming pain-free by calling Dr. Thor Mongie at 702-258-7860 or online at the letter I, wholehealth.com.
Pure Health Foods was voted the #1 health food store in Las Vegas by the readers of Wellness Magazine. Stop by today to find out why. Pure Health Foods has competitive prices, a great selection, and is a knowledgeable and friendly family-owned business. Come in and prepare for the upcoming flu season by building up your immune system now. Pure Health Foods, located at 7575 West Washington Avenue, number 129. You can call them at 702-366-9297 or visit them on the web at purehealthfoodslv.com. Pure Health Foods, not your ordinary health food store.
If you've got questions, he's got answers. Call Dr. Mongie at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. The 3 T's of Health continue. Here's Dr. Thor Mongie.
Hi, you're back with Dr. Thor Mongie with the 3 T's of Health. We have a call on the line. Beth, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Great. What question do you have for us?
Well, I have a question because I was in Nebraska and there was a doctor there that was a chiropractor.
Okay.
He did a lot of health and nutrition as well, but he did this. I was listening to the show, and you were talking about having a person standing on a scale with each foot to see the balance.
Yeah.
But he did this one therapy, and I can't remember what it was called. It was at the base of the skull. That if your head's not put on right, I guess that it'll make your whole body go cockeyed. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's and so as I said, in chiropractic, there's a small group of us chiropractors that are specialized in an upper cervical chiropractor, and that he must have been an upper cervical chiropractor, and it's the same approach that I do. We take specific X-rays to find out if the head is off center, and if it's tilted, we look at the spine, and so it sounds like that he did the same kind of technique as I do. It's called NUCA.
It sounds like it. And I have a question.
Yeah.
I was beaten up and my neck was broken. Would that be an ill-advised type of procedure for me?
Okay. No, the great thing is NUCA and upper cervical chiropractic is real low force. And so the adjustment actually feels like about the weight of a penny on your hand. And so that's the great thing is people actually come to me even after surgery, neck surgery, low back surgery. A lot of people actually come to me because there's no, popping, twisting kind of adjustment. Not saying that that's bad, but it is low force. And so, and so it's really low force, but it's really powerful.
So if a person has multiple spinal injuries, your kind of therapy would be the proper kind of therapy for them, would you say?
Yeah, it'd be ideal. And because it's so, we talk about not forcing the spine, really unlocking and winding and softening the spine. But yeah, the great questions. And you can follow us, on the web under Renaissance Health Center or Dr. Mongie. Any other questions?
No, that was it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for calling in, Beth. We almost going to close the show. I'd just like to wrap up. I'd like to thank John for being on the show and sharing his knowledge about. And so the show is called The 3 T's of Health with Dr. Thor Mongie and John Alexander. We had Sean on from Health Food Stores. We talk about dumbing it down. I talk about dumbing it down to my patients, making health understandable. We get out of balance. John's laughing there.
Well, hopefully, just because I understood it, you're not going to start calling me Homer.
Oh, no. No, but we want to, hopefully bring across the message, at a level that people can understand. And, to reiterate, the body gets out of balance in 3 basic ways. The first is trauma, physical stress. The third is toxins or chemical stress, or thoughts or emotional stress. And next week we're going to be concentrating, or the show is going to be on really stress. And there's a lot of stress in our lives out there, and stress can be affecting you structurally, emotionally, or chemically, and blowing the fuses. And I want to reiterate the spiritual thought of today, or our bodies are our responsibility. We'll see you next week at the same time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Weather is brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Today through this weekend, sunny, high 90, low 64. Right now at Advanced Auto Parts, get a gallon of Crestone Full Strength Antifreeze for just $7.99 after mail-in rebate. Only at Advanced Auto Parts. Pre-rebate price $16.99. See store for details.
Well, a big hello, everybody. Well, hello, everybody. We want to say a big hello, and thanks so many of you who have stopped by our booth there. And, of course, before we get started here and wrap it up with Cher, well, listen, I want to talk to my good friend here, Stephen Jacobs. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? You doing well?
Absolutely. And how have you enjoyed the event so far out here at the NCET Entrepreneurs Business Expo?
Well, I tell you, the event's been pulled off very well. I think they've done a good job. There's nice booths around, nice people in the booths, being very helpful to everybody in the business community. I think it's a great event. I don't think this should be the last one that they do.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you stopped by our booth. We were talking about, only on the radio program, and I know you've been in this business just a little bit, and I look forward to talking to you more about that. And, of course, you have a lot of vets out in this area. Is that right?
Yeah, we do. There's we've got the Nellis out here, but we've also got a lot of veterans that come into the Las Vegas area and so forth. And a lot of vets start their own businesses, but they have a problem with trying to do it, how they interface with the governments and so forth. And a lot of them just have really good products, but nobody seems to know about them. But I was talking to you. I thought, well, maybe we have a show where we bring the vets in and they get to talk about their businesses and the products, and then maybe we also help them and other vets who are thinking about having a business and how to do that and how to interface with the government.
Well, listen, I sure do appreciate you stopping by the booth, and I know you and I will be talking later on during the week here. And I want to thank you, Sheriff, for helping us with Heroes. They are having a big event November 4th.
Yes, we are at Craig P. Kenny Law Office on 8th and Clark.
And, of course, is the public invited to that? How does that work now?
Yes, the public is invited. We only ask as an admission fee you bring a gently used suit, blazer, clutch, shoes, the whole professional suit.
And this go out to help so many people so they can qualify when they go out on interviews and do well in the community. Is that right?
Yes, so they can be confident in their appearance and in their job skills.
Well, I want to thank you and, of course, Tiger and the whole gang over there at Hero School, and boy, we appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Bruce Garrett, Commander and host of Nights Over Las Vegas. I want to thank our staff at KLAV Studios there, Hemisphere Media, and, of course, everyone for being so supportive. John back there, our board op, Irma, and, of course, our management there, the whole gang there, and Robin, Brent, Peggy, the whole, and thank everybody. And, of course, this has been successful. This will be going on to 4 o'clock p.m., but we're going to go back to the studios of KLAV 1230 a.m., the talk of Las Vegas.
My name is Jeffrey Burke, and I'm the host of the Staying Healthy Show here on KLAV. The Staying Healthy Show is now on KLAV 10 times per week. 10 times for you to hear the best guest in the industry and learn about the best nutritional products available for your good health. You can hear my show weekday mornings at 8 and a new show again at 5. Both shows are drive time for your listening pleasure. The show is sponsored by Stay Healthy Health Food Store, located at 840 South Rancho Drive in the Rancho Town & Country Center on the northwest corner of Charleston and Rancho. The hours of the store are Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 p.m., Saturdays 9 to 6, and closed on Sundays. Wayne Rudolph built his store with 3 principles in mind: great products and selection, a knowledgeable staff, and memorable service every time you visit his store. Please tune into the Staying Healthy Show 10 times per week here on KLAV. I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you and helping you get healthy, be healthy, and stay healthy.
Hi, this is Dr. Annette. Join me every Sunday evening at 6:30 for The Shift. right here on KLAV, where we talk about health and the crazy things happening to your health freedoms. Remember, the shift airs every Sunday evening at 6:30. For more information, archive shows, and links, visit drannette.com. Spell it all out, DOCTORANNETTE.com.
A learning disability means you're finished, right? Wrong. Introducing The Never Give Up Show, brought to you by the Never Give Up Foundation, hosted by Matthew Cox. The Never Give Up Show is about letting go of your fears and breaking the shackles and stigma associated with learning disability. And life coach Matt ought to know. He himself was diagnosed with a learning disability. Now he's a motivational speaker with an advanced degree. This is powerful radio. The Never Give Up Show, Tuesday afternoon at 4. Love us on radio, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. We are KLAV